Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me today. My name is Sarah Fabricant, and I am currently a learning specialist at Notre Dame Preparatory High School in Scottsdale, Arizona. I've been teaching for almost 25 years and have my bachelor's in education from the University of Delaware and my master's in special education from Fordham University. I've been married for 20 years and am the proud mom to three fabulous kids, a son and daughter who are in high school, and my youngest son who is a sixth grader. I believe deeply in the importance of inclusion and the need to raise awareness of neurodiversity, and my passion is supporting all students to maximize, understand, and take ownership of their learning. I have taught in public, private, and charter elementary and middle schools as a learning specialist. I have tutored privately in New York, New Jersey, and North Carolina. I have worked at elite private schools, and I have taught at Title I schools. Throughout all of these experiences, while I had the pedagogy, training, and skills necessary to support struggling learners, I always felt that a piece was missing. I now support high school students, many of whom have never been directly taught the foundational skills and tools necessary to become lifelong expert learners. I recently completed a certificate in learning differences and neurodiversity at Landmark College. And as a result of this coursework, I launched into the development of my research-based Becoming an Expert Learner curriculum. And get ready, this is the first time I'm presenting in this fashion, so please be patient with me, because I would so much prefer a live audience, and there may be many bloopers. So, first, one of my favorite quotes from B.B. King, and one I share with my students. The beautiful thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you. And this is a gift I hope to give my students through this curriculum. My goal over the course of the next 20 minutes or so is to describe my process for developing this curriculum, to convince you of its importance, and to give you some practical tools to take back to your students. I hope to share some fundamental topics and strategies that you can use to build a similar program on your own campus. And if my words aren't enough, I will also share direct student feedback. As I progress through my slides, please know that I am well aware you all have different levels of understanding and exposure to the topics I will discuss. I encourage you all to be flexible, and if you ever need to pause me to Google a topic or learn a bit more, I encourage you to do so. So why is this program essential, and what are the implications of not teaching these skills? While as young children our parents make decisions for us and they guide us in our learning, I believe it is important for students at all ages to understand their strengths and challenges and to develop these critical skills in order to experience success in school. Only when they understand their own learning needs can they grow as learners. What is special about this course is that it goes beyond typical study skills and that it integrates a range of skills and tools into a single course. And before we move on, when you see this light bulb emoji, consider it a metacognitive moment, otherwise known as an opportunity to pause and reflect on the question or prompt I've posed. Maybe something I've said has piqued your interest or caused you to consider its implications on your own campus for the students who you support. Developing metacognition, as you'll soon hear, is a critical component of my program. So whether you're like me and you take organized handwritten notes, maybe you use a multicolored pen, or you prefer voice dictating into your phone. Are you doodling ideas and big concepts? Maybe you're texting yourself. All are great options and those that I suggest to my students. Either way, take the time to pause me and reflect. It's proven to be an incredibly meaningful tool. So now on to explain my organizational framework and how it was designed to meet the immediate needs of the neurodiverse high school students who I support. On this slide, you will see the snapshot of the modules I introduced throughout the semester and the relevant subtopics. While I have created this course to meet the needs of all learners, the development of these skills and dispositions are exceptionally important for students who have specific learning disabilities and/or attention difficulties. While content area teachers are experts of their personal curricula, students are rarely taught the skills required to take ownership of their learning in order to maximize success. My goal throughout the semester is to coach and support students to better understand their learning needs so that they can take agency of their own learning. Students will acquire a toolkit of skills and will practice making strategic decisions about how and when to use the skills as they grow and develop as learners throughout the school year. My delivery method of content includes big topic modules that are broken down into mini lessons. As I am working to model for you here, I actively incorporate elements of universal design to include multiple means of engagement, representation, and action and expression. All of my coursework is organized, presented, and shared with students via Canvas, which is our school's learning management system. I introduce short, enriching lessons with follow-up engagement activities and reflective opportunities. Since the block of time I have to support students also includes much-needed one-on-one and small group support and tutoring in specific content areas, I always have to be flexible. Often it becomes apparent that I must adjust my lesson or plan for the day when students have an upcoming exam, project, or assignment that must take priority. Additionally, this semester, small thanks to COVID, I've been able to incorporate multiple guest speakers from across the country, including notable experts in the field of executive functions, neuropsychology, motivation, as well as an alumni of our high school who spoke to my students and shared his successes and challenges as an individual with learning difficulties. As part of this framework, I meet regularly one-on-one with all of my students. The success of my program relies heavily upon the rapport I develop with my students, as well as a high level of continuous feedback. I know student motivation is directly linked with the extra time and energy it takes me to make connections with students, establish my credibility, listen openly, and partner with them. They know that my fondness and belief in each and every one of them is real. If you're interested in learning more, please email me so that I can share specific reference articles. Unfortunately, I do not have enough time to review and discuss all aspects of my curriculum in detail, but you can see I introduce students to the basics of anatomy and physiology of the brain and its implications for learning. We spent an entire module on note-taking, studying, and test-taking when I referenced Jonathan Mooney's book, Learning Outside the Lines. We also discuss elements of neurodiversity, as well as the many other factors that impact learning. Again, my goal is always to give students the tools to begin to understand themselves as learners, with the goal of them developing the skills necessary to become expert learners. Since I cannot cover all of these topics, I hope that you will contemplate which topics might be best suited to introduce to your students as you develop your own program. I will, however, do my best today to give you a peek into self-advocacy and metacognition, which are two of the building blocks of my course and two that are often not explicitly taught. But before we move on, it's time for another metacognitive moment. Is there a topic or subtopic you see here that you'd like to learn more about? I'm happy to share how I introduce any of the modules that I have listed here. So please feel free to pause and jot a note or a question now. One of the first things we do each semester, and one I would be remiss not to mention, is our module on what we like to call Start the Semester Strong Skills. And it is not a module we rush through. At the start of the semester, I emphasize the expectations for the course, and I convey the need for student participation, cooperation, and willingness for them to experience success. Our team schedules one-on-one appointments with each student to adjust their email settings and to personalize their folders. We have found that this is a necessary precursor to developing strong organizational skills, and it also facilitates self-advocacy. When your email inbox is filled to the brim with thousands of emails, it's hard to sort through and identify what's important. In fact, this is a struggle for many adults. Similarly, we work individually with students to personalize and organize their Canvas notifications and their Google Drive. All too often, we have found that our students are not able to find documents they have downloaded, created, or shared with a friend. And this process of meeting one-on-one promotes organization and planning. Finally, one element we have created and that I'm particularly proud of is our weekly grade and SMART goal tracker. Our grade tracker is shared with teachers, uploaded weekly as an assignment, and provides a visual representation of students' grades. The task of completing the grade tracker helps students develop responsibility, and it also works because students know they are accountable to someone else because it is a weekly assignment. We meet one-on-one with students to plan and prioritize how to tackle upcoming formative and summative assignments. We also work in partnership with students to develop SMART goals, which are embedded as a tab into the weekly grade tracker. By meeting regularly with students and asking them to track their own grades, they are developing the habit and responsibility of monitoring their own progress while also developing and adjusting SMART goals. Part of our Start the Semester Strong Skills module involves an introduction to the idea of self-advocacy, which is a vital element of developing expert learners. Manju Banerjee, Vice President of Educational Research and Innovation at Landmark College, notes, self-advocacy happens when a student at any age knows what they need to be successful and feels empowered to ask for help if and when they need it. Let's start by watching a quick video to learn a bit more.
Self-advocacy before? Have you had a teacher or parent tell you should be a self-advocate? What does that even mean? Self-advocacy is an important skill for all individuals. Self-advocacy means speaking up for yourself and making sure that your needs are met. It's normal in elementary school and high school for your parents and teachers to advocate on your behalf. Talking to your teachers about grades and homework, and communicating about your needs and IEP if you have one. However, when you finish high school and go to college or university, it will be expected that you can do that advocacy for yourself. Even if that's 2, 5, or 7 years away, starting early and building this skill over time will make it easier when you get there. But there are a lot of reasons that being a self-advocate is hard. Sometimes we don't know what to ask for or why we need it. Sometimes we don't believe that we deserve what we need. Sometimes we're embarrassed or ashamed to ask for help or accommodations. Sometimes we don't have the skills necessary to be an advocate. Sometimes we've had bad experiences in the past, which make us not want to try again. All of these things are normal, and we want to help you tackle those issues and work towards being your own self-advocate. Not only so you can get what you need in the classroom, but also so that you can practice the skills needed to be an independent adult in the future. Check out our other videos in the comments and start building your advocacy skills today.
Hopefully after watching this brief video, you better understand the importance of self-advocacy. As you can see from some of the comments by my students below, self-advocacy is a challenging skill to develop, but it is one that can be cultivated and strengthened. Often we begin developing self-advocacy by completing a screening that was developed by Peg Dawson and Dick Guar that helps students begin to understand and explore their own strengths and challenges. When students better understand their own needs, while it can be difficult, it does in fact become easier to communicate their needs with teachers. Modeling and role-playing are a great way to develop self-advocacy skills. I often support students in drafting emails to teachers when they need to communicate about missing work, confusing assignments, or the use of their accommodations. And on to another metacognitive moment. How have you seen students self-advocate on your campus? And what is the difference between students who have this skill and those who do not? Next, I'm going to share a little bit about metacognition. So first, what is metacognition? Metacognition essentially fits under the umbrella of executive function skills and involves self-reflection and awareness of one's own learning. The word itself means thinking about thinking and how you learn. While it develops in the frontal lobe and does not fully mature until the mid-20s, the good news is it is in fact a skill that can be taught. Let's watch a quick video, which is also one I share with my students. Now that you've learned a little bit more by watching that video, you may still be considering why learn about metacognition. Well, I think in the current education landscape, we as teachers need to do all we can to help kids succeed. And the exciting news is that studies show that students who develop their metacognitive skills outperform those who don't by an average of a third of a letter grade. Additionally, students who are involved in activities and programs designed to improve these skills have the potential to accelerate their academic progress by up to 8 months. And if that's not enough to convince you, when students begin to think about their thinking, they are able to simultaneously improve their self-regulation, self-awareness, goal-directed persistence, especially when work gets harder, and their overall academic success. Now, like you, I have attended countless professional development seminars and workshops over the years, and I know teachers want an immediate tool that's ready to implement without lots of extra training. So right now, I'm going to suggest an easy tool to help you develop metacognition in your students. It's something called an exam wrapper. An exam wrapper is a series of questions meant to be kept brief that can be tailored to specific content areas. The idea is that these questions are wrapped around a test booklet or assignment when students receive it. The point here is that students are unwrapping their minds and taking the time to pause and reflect. I provided a couple of potential prompts for students that I have adapted from Carnegie Mellon University, but they are easy to personalize and adapt to support specific content areas. The point is to help students not only consider and reflect upon their preparation for exams, but also to think about how they felt during the test and things they might do differently next time. Before we wrap up, I'd like to share some comments and feedback from my students. I am now my second semester of developing this course content, and while I know and believe, and in fact the research supports, that all of the skills and dispositions I'm introducing to students matter, what matters most is how students are responding to my course content. I'd like to read just a few comments from my students. I believe and hope that some of what I am coaching is sinking in and making a difference as I work to develop engaged, thoughtful, expert learners. Since I struggle with task initiation, one thing I do to combat these challenges is to do work with other people, because when I surround myself with other people, I tend to have more of a drive to get my work done because I want to show them that I'm not lazy. I have a planner, so when I get behind, I look at what I'm missing so I don't get behind. I also have timers set throughout the day to make sure I have completed all of my assignments. I also work at my desk so I don't get distracted as easily. I always procrastinate. Ways that I have to combat procrastination is studying in a few days before a test or quiz and doing work right away instead of the night before. Some skills that should be used to advocate for yourself that are important to success, not only in school but in life, is to be vocal. Being vocal opens you up to getting questions answered and showing confidence. You can't be afraid to get rejected or have a question to be left unanswered. Always stay curious and use your voice to express your opinion and hope that someone hears it and answers them. Anyone and everyone is willing to help you. You have to go looking for it. I'm sorry that our time together has been brief, but I hope that I have given you something to think about and you consider the importance of incorporating topics such as self-advocacy and metacognition with students at your school. The great news is that the curriculum I have developed will greatly benefit all students, and it can most definitely be adapted to support students of all ages. I hope you will consider developing a similar program at your school, and I hope I have convinced you of its importance and given you some practical tools to take back. If you'd like to learn more, you can most certainly reach out to me anytime. Additionally, please email me so that I can share some of my favorite articles and references if you'd like to read further. Finally, I have created a Padlet with the hopes of getting some feedback from all of you. I would be grateful for your honest feedback as I continue to develop my program.